So there was she had a kind of an interesting twist, just an interesting addition to what is important. She talked about the NGO tapping into her professional skills. Well, there's a lot of research that actually supports that says that when people are engaged, they give more money, but when they are engaged and you tap into their expertise, that giving goes even higher. So that's something to think about as you think about your engagement opportunities, the ways that you are engaging people. Are you tapping into people's various expertise? So let's see what some of the lessons were from Ghana. So she talked about engagement in a service. You know, she said, my time and my energy. Now, interestingly, we were having a discussion earlier today in the masterclass that I was doing, and a couple of nights ago, too, with some friends from here in Holland. And they were saying that kind of their time and their energy is their gift. You know, you hear that sometimes. But what I liked about her story was my time, my energy, and my money. Right? She was offering all three, that all three were really important. Engagement as service, giving time and money. She also talked about how important it was that the organization wisely uses her money, that she expects them to use that money in a wise and prudent way, and that she looks for regular updates. Again, good stewardship makes all the difference in the world. Are we reporting back to our donors, not just saying thank you, but letting them know that their gift has mattered, it made a difference. It was spent as they had asked, and it had this great impact, and that we're regularly updating them. I was also struck not just by her story, but by all of them. Storytelling is at the heart of this, isn't it? Being good storytellers is a huge part of our job. Are we telling stories in a powerful and compelling way? And are we enabling our donors to be able to tell our story? If some of your donors were up here, would they be able to tell your story in a really compelling, accurate, wonderful way? Are you sharing your story in a way that lets them do that? And then once again, we pretty much heard that any size gift can matter. So we're kind of back to the question, who drives philanthropy? Is it men? Is it women? Do they do it together? Who drives philanthropy? Now, we surveyed you before you came, and at the time, you said, 47% of you said, you know what, women drive philanthropy. 33% said, nope, that's not true, and 20% of you weren't sure. So it's funny in fundraising, any question you ask in fundraising, if you answer, it depends, you would be right. Right? There's almost any question that you could ask in fundraising. Well, does this the right thing to do? Well, it depends. But how about that? It depends, and that is true. That is true. It does depend. So who drives philanthropy depends. There was this big cross-national study. They looked at some 145 countries about where women give more money. Isn't this an interesting mix? This was just the top, 10? Top 12 countries where women give more money. And then it went all the way down to places where women give considerably less than men. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the women are not driving philanthropy in those other countries, but they weren't credited with giving. I don't know if any of these countries surprise you. If you are from one of these countries and you're saying, really? You know, I'm not sure, but that was this big cross-national study. And then the same study looked at what were the motivators from their perspective. So we saw that earlier study about motivation. So this study that was produced in this book, The Age of Empathy, they said women were more likely to give because we're more empathetic. Okay? And that we are more religious. And that's why we give more. And then men are more likely to give because they have more money and more education. But look at this last one, this highlighted. They give more because they're asked. Are we asking women? Are we inviting women in? Are we giving women an opportunity to have an impact on your NGO, right? We know that asking is a critical part of the equation. So, what were some of the common themes that were the most relevant to you? You know, as you look at the notes you took, what were the things that really resonated with you? One of the ones that resonated with me was the importance of having a vision, the importance of having a destination, big ideas, someplace that we're going, and they want to be a part of it. They want to be a part of that outcome. We heard about values and the importance of shared values. I thought that was an important message in there. Everybody talked about making a difference and having an impact. We heard a lot about, or if we didn't hear it, we saw it, a lot about deep, deep personal engagement. And everybody talked about the absolute joy of giving, right? So we're ending where we started, and that is with the notion of generosity. And what does it mean to truly be generous? And we actually would like you to participate and help us kind of define it. So everybody at your desk, you at your chair, you have one of these little cards. Yours is green. You got a little card. Everybody has a green card. One of the things that we would like you to do is to write what generosity means to you, right? How would you define generosity? What do you think it means to be generous? And you can write it in your own language. And there is a big, what would you call it, a bulletin board outside of this door where you can post your answer. And we're going to read and share. So you can do it now. You can do it because it's going to stay up throughout the Congress. You can come back and look at it and see what other people say, right, if you can understand them. Those of you that are able to write in English, that would be good so then other people could read, right, because that's a common language for most of us. So that would be a good thing, but you can write it in your own language as well. What does it truly mean to be generous? And just kind of, you know, put your own personal definition and post it outside. But we have one more vote that we need to take, as you've heard this whole journey. So, are women more generous than men? For everybody who thinks that's true at the end of this journey, I want to hear a big woo and clapping, clapping. So, are women more generous than men? Yeah? Or are we voting for the boys? Oh, we've got a vote for the boys right here. A couple of votes for the boys. So please let us know about generosity and what you think. And we wanted to end our plenary with you this morning by sharing an important message that we heard in the beginning. You know, every one of these women, every one of these amazing women were put forward, their names were put forward by a board member of the Resource Alliance, that they generously were happy to share their donors. They were generously happy to make the contacts and bring people in. When we think about trying to inspire other people to be generous, it starts with us. You know, are we sharing our knowledge? Are we volunteering? Is everybody in this room a generous donor? A generous donor not only to your organization, I hope, but also to other NGOs that you care about. Is everybody in this room finding some way to volunteer? Even if you are busy and slammed, can you volunteer in just some little way or in some big way? Are we as generous as the people we want to inspire? Because when it starts with us, when we are truly generous, then it's so much easier to take that passion and that joy and transfer it out to the rest of the world. So I hope that you enjoy the Congress, that you have an amazing, amazing session, that you network like crazy, and that you keep in your heart for the whole time the absolute joy of being a generous participant. Thank you, everybody, and have a great, great Congress. Back at you.